We have started a couple weeks ago to talk about the perispirit, which, as we explained, is the physical body of the spirit. Just to remind all of you, as spirits, we are, as far as we know, we will always be breathing in matter, so to say. There is always going to be matter around us. Of course, this matter is going to vary according to where we are, our spiritual condition, and that's why it can be denser or more ethereal, lighter. Also, depending on our condition or the condition of physicality, materiality of the planet or the world which we are linked. As we know, so far we have been inhabiting this planet, a world of trials and atonements, moving to a world of regeneration, but it's still a very material, so to say, world. That's why our physical bodies are denser, and even our perispirit that reflects our spirit, you know, the acquisition of our spirit, of course, is still more material, although not necessarily completely material. There is a, let me see one. Okay, let me mute you here. Mute here because there was coming back my voice to me. I don't know if you were hearing. And so this is basically what we have to know and understand about spiritism and perispirit in terms of this materiality or the physical body that we will always have. And when we die, we still have this one that we call perispirit. And everything starts for us when we return to the physical world here on planet Earth. It starts with the process of connection that happens from the moment that the sperm reaches the egg. There is already a spirit behind all that, guiding even the choices, the genetic choices that are going to be made for our next physical body. In this sense is where, again, we remember about and we mention again about the points of creation. This is actually a slide that were developed by Júlio Padovan, and also talking about what is the extra-physical plane and the physical plane, how we understand things. But to us, what really matters here is understanding that we, as spirits, are the ones that are going to be chiseling our future body according to our possibilities. So if I received 1,000 bricks to build a house, I will only be able to build a house with 1,000 bricks. That's what I was entitled to. I had marriage together. Someone next to us, maybe because of their marriage, they got 2,000 bricks. Of course, their houses are going to be more elaborate than ours because they worked hard to get 2,000, others 5,000, others 10,000, others 100. Okay, so let's not think that we are the ones that are in the worst situation just because we have 1,000, right? There are people that will have 100 or maybe even one. You know, this is, you know, the one that I'm going to lay the foundation of my future house. So, and sometimes it is really hard for us to accept and to understand that we are the builders of our own destiny. Many times I repeat here saying it would be so much better if we could blame everyone else but ourselves, starting with God, starting with the creation, and then going, along those lines, blaming everybody else for our lack of luck, or bragging about our good luck. Everything is related to merit, to possibilities. God does not favor any one of us. And so this is something that we have to understand, which does not mean, and this is also very important for us to establish, because then we will say, oh, but we see so many good people going through so much struggles. Why is that? It's struggles, challenges, not necessarily mean paying back your debts. Many times they, especially in times of transition, sorry, they need courageous spirits to embrace more challenging incarnations, to serve as examples to others. In this case, it's not karma, it's not paying back, is contributing, and at the same time promoting one's own inner transformation faster. So you're getting merit, extra merit, as so to say. So in many circumstances, that's why, it would be totally unfair of us to look at people that are in a difficult position and say, oh my God, this person must have done so much bad in previous incarnations, right? Gossiping about it. No, not necessarily. And all depends as well as the person accepts that. Accepts is different than the emotions we're feeling. Of course, if someone's step on my foot, it's going to hurt, right? And I'll feel the hurt. And this is absolutely normal. It doesn't measure my, let's say, spiritual involvement. But if I start screaming and saying bad things and being aggressive to the person and saying everyone all the time, do not pay attention to me, they are always, bumping into me, this kind of rebellious response, then I'm showing the true colors of my spirit. But the pain, okay, the hurt, and I'm not talking here only about physical hurt or physical pain. It can be, moral pain, emotional pain. The pain is inevitable. We will feel this pain, right? But we will have an understanding that is part of our process of evolvement. And luckily for us, and hopefully for us, we were the ones that said, you know what, I'm going to accept a more challenging incarnation, because by doing that, yes, I still can remove some bad traces from my past, but at the same time, I can speed up the process of my evolvement by giving good examples and, being the leader in the several fields that we act. Questions, comments?
Sarah?
Yes.
I'm always seeking justice of the spirit world, and related and regarding what you say, the people who are carrying a cross so heavy that you wonder, where's the justice in the creation? And what do we say about good and evil that's incorporated in this situation.
Orlando, I quite often I refer to a passage, a message from the spiritual manual that we receive and we have through the psychography of Chico Xavier, that is in the book Our Daily Bread. It's item 60, The Logic of the Providence. Our Daily Bread, item 60, The Logic of Providence. And there you will find the answer to your question. We will start understanding the logic of providence. I'm just going to give to make a small remark. I recommend everyone to read that and to read that many times, especially when we have all those questions, you know. But basically, what they say is that again, let's make a comparison with a student in a school. Okay, I cannot go to a first grade student and expect that this student will be able to succeed in a quiz that is made for high school. They don't have the knowledge, they don't have the understanding. Okay, they have to deal with things that pertains to the first grade and not to high school. Okay, ninth grade, for instance, or even if we think about fifth grade or even second grade, we don't need to go that far. So God only allows more difficult trials and possibilities in our lives when we are more prepared to deal with them. So that's why sometimes we will see people that we in our understanding, in our point of view, are very inconsequent and lead a wonderful, splendid, problem-free life, while we see others that goes through enormous struggles that are almost like a Mother Teresa, so to say. Right? So unless we understand the logic of providence, we will not be able to accept this concept.
I'll say this thing, what I'm going to say, and then I'm going to be quiet. But thanks to science, science is going to make up for that. It's going to correct all that and make life more the way it should be.
Science is going to be responsible for that when it meets with spirituality, because when science proves or comes up with a device that finally we are going to be able to see the spirits and to see the spirit world, it is going to change completely the way of living here on the material world. We may think that this is not possible, but if we look at science, you know, now we go to the movies and we have this 3D, 4Ds, all the things. And so I do believe that we will have, I mean, there are even they have those shows already, you know, the ghost hunters, all those things like that. They already have those devices that they can capture, you know, paranormal forces in the place. This is going to increase, this is going to improve, and soon enough, I hope it is going to become a reality. And of course, this is going to be an accomplishment of science. But science is made of what? Human beings, right? Human beings, the more they evolve, the more they will be able to open their antennas and be perceptive to ideas that they can now put into place into the material world. And then we will be able to expand our understanding. The same thing that, you know, before we were totally oblivious to how we could impact the production, the life in our world. Now we have all this ecological conscience, seeing how much our footprint is impacts the well-being that we may have in our planet, and how we can compromise things for the future. Before, I would just, turn on the water and let the water run. Right now, you have that children's song, and never let the water run. Sometimes I sing that to myself when I'm brushing my teeth and I forgot to immediately turn off the water. I begin singing the song that I sang to my son. And yeah, so when we were thinking about that, when were we thinking about, all the garbage that we were throwing in the rivers and the sea, as if this were going to impact our lives today and the future life? So everything is science. Even the volcanoes, for instance, now they have the possibility of forecasting a volcano, a tornado, more or less, more hurricane, and we still cannot prevent this geological occurrences, but we can reduce greatly the impact that they can provoke, that it can cause us. So all of that is thanks to the progress of science, the progress of human beings that are progressing, spiritually speaking. So let's go to our next slide. Is still one that Julio has prepared for us. In terms of reincarnation, why do we use reincarnation? So, and our point here is to study not reincarnation, but to study the possibilities of the spirit and our perispirit, the physical body that accompanies the perispirit in the moment of reincarnation. So we are like this little guy here on the left. We can see that its shape is not the ideal shape, right? So this is us as inferior spirits that we still are, looking more like an alien, right, than a human being, all round and shapy and all in things in the right place. So since we present this deficiency, so to say, in our spirit, that is going to reflect on our perispirit, that is going to be the mold for those who, like to bake cakes. I mean, I always say that if you use a pan that has a dent, when you remove your cake, the dent will be there because your pan was not perfect, right? The mold was not perfect. So reincarnation will help us through the experiences that we will have to become like the little guy on the right, to shape ourselves, spiritually speaking. Okay. Any comment or question? In terms of the process of dying, since our spirit and perispirit is never totally encapsulated in our physical body, which sometimes is a concept very hard for us, We tend to imagine that this is a case, my physical body is a case, and everything is inside of it, like, a little box, right? No, they say our spirit is not inside this box. Our perispirit is not inside this box. It irradiates around, okay? But when organic life ceases, there is this removal, okay? That there is this withdrawing from the connections we have with the physical body. And so we are going to be releasing all this energy, returning to the life of spirit, molecule by molecule, in the same way that when we are incarnating. we just don't jump into a body, so to say. We start connecting from the first moment when there is the division of cells, molecule by molecule. Okay. Let's go to the next one. We were touching a little bit about this, our perispirit in relation to the moral evolvement of our spirit. So the nature of the fluidic envelope is always in accord with the degree of moral advancement of the spirit. Less evolved spirits have difficulties modifying their inferior tendencies and consequently go at will from one world. Less evolved, no, sorry. More evolved spirits, there's something that I have to review here, have difficulties in modifying their tenses and consequently cannot go at will from one world to another. That's correct, sorry. So what is it is saying here that the less evolved, morally speaking, we are talking about, okay? This has nothing to do with intellectual achievements. Okay, how many diplomas I may have or anything. It's all moral achievements, okay, which is at the reach of everyone. Okay, so here we cannot say, oh, I didn't have the time, I didn't have the means, or my parents, or the area I was born, the country I was born didn't offer possibility. No, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with our inner dispositions, okay, our moral achievements. And this can be accomplished in whatever condition. And sometimes, more often than not, we will see more morally evolved people among the less privileged, so to say, economical classes of society than among the ones with more resources. Even Jesus said, it's easier for a camel to pass through the needle, to the eye of a needle, than a rich person to reach the kingdom of heaven, right? It's not because poor them, they are rich here but do not have morality. It's not that as well, but sometimes because we have more distracted life for the material situations we possess, not necessarily we go through or we look for spirituality, which is absolutely not a rule, okay? But this, we are just talking about moral evolvement. So the more morally evolved we are, the more spiritual possibilities we have, even when incarnated on earth. Okay, you can go to sleep and just visit Jupiter during the night. If your perispirit allows you to, or go to spiritual colonies, much more evolved than the common ones that we have on the around the crust of Earth. But if we are more material, less evolved in a way, is spirit, we will have restrictions. We will not have the same possibilities. Okay, so again, is this God giving privilege to some and not to others? No, it's the rule of the game, as we always say. You apply yourself, doors are going to be open to you. You still decide to delay because it's only a matter of delaying. We cannot avoid progress, ever. It may take 1,000 years for me to go to the next level and just 100 years for somebody else. But I will get there. It's bad for me because I could be happier in 100 years and it took me 1,000 years. So unless I start paying attention to that and really committing to this kind of progress, I'm the one that is going to be unhappier because I will be more subject to the things of this matter. Again, it's very important for us to say, and I'm repeating that because in a time of transition, we are called to give testimonials, okay, to become become change makers, to become role models. And because breaking with the old, breaking with the habits, becoming a pioneer in a way, especially in this field of spirituality, it's very painful to us because it's not only an inner process, it's basically we have to erase everything that we believed before. Right? It's like I really have to remove completely this layer, this understanding that I had about what life here on matter means. Okay, first of all, we thought, okay, it's just this life. Let me live it the best that I can, get it all the advantages. I don't care whom I'm going to be harming to get what I want to get. And I die, and that's it. Now, I mean, it changed completely. No, it's not it. It's not even the beginning, because the beginning was millennia ago, and you have eternity before you. So we have to reboot ourselves completely. So that's why they say we are no longer called to give testimonies in the circles being lighted by a torch, or becoming human torches, or being mauled by the beasts, but the inner beasts that inhabited us. And if that was not enough, we have all the judgment of the world, the people that are surrounding us, and many times the closest ones that do not understand us, that do not accept what we are doing. So it is very hard, very, very hard. You doing your effort, wishing you could have perhaps a bit more of motivation on the part of your loved ones that could help pushing you forward, and they are the ones that are lagging back, that pushing you back and questioning you at every step of the way, and it's sometimes it's very interesting because when we talk to them about spirituality and it seems that they are not paying attention, you just have to lose control a tiny bit. They will come to you and say, hey, are you not the spiritualist and all that? Why are you doing that? Right? You're not entitled to lose control. They come to us, right? So hard. And that's why those are not easy times for us. But there is no other way that we can graduate. It's no pain, no gain. But it's not a pain that is imposed by God, right? This is, it's a pain related to growing pains and related to my bad choices. Okay, so any comment or question in this one? Yes, Marlene.
Hi. At Sunday's Q&A, dreams came up. And science tells us that we all dream every night. But I hardly ever remember a dream. I can go for months and I don't have a dream as far as I know. Well, I missed the whole answer because my internet server had a meltdown and knocked me offline. And so I didn't really get to hear Elmo's response. I wonder if you might elucidate a bit for me on that, please.
Okay. If anyone was here Sunday and would like to contribute, please feel free to do so. But yeah, first thing first, Marlene, I'm going to reply to this question because we are talking about perispirit, and dreaming is about perispirit, okay? Otherwise, this would be just a Q&A session and we would be going all around things and not being objective as well. But dreams has everything to do with that, because when we sleep, as we know, we as a spirit, perispirit, we withdraw a little bit. We move away from the physicality, and we start living a life of the spirit. So every night, whether we acknowledge that or not, whether we accept that or not, there is an expanding of these links that connects us to the physical body. It's not that we disconnect, we just expand and we have more freedom to move about. Many people have experiences in this out of body situation, but let's be talking about dreams. And this is something that science has attested already, okay? You all go and dream. What they do not know is exactly what are those dreams, right? They know that somehow our conscious continues even when our body is in a state of living. Obviously, their explanation is that our physical brain never stops thinking. But we know that there is more than the physical brain. And the physical brain is just a physical manifestation or a physical organ for my spirit to manifest through the perispirit. So why do we do not remember? I don't know exactly the answer to that. Okay. Why we don't have the recollection. There may be physical reasons, that may be spiritual reasons. The spiritual ones, I do know. Okay, sometimes we may have negative experiences that even ourselves as spirits, we are going to block it. Okay, like, I mean, you may say, I don't know, I don't remember what happened in my dream, but it was a bad sensation and I just woke up. Like, kind of scared a little bit and I woke up. We may not remember everything and say, but what happened? I don't know what happened. I just had this sensation, okay? Or the opposite, there is a book, I don't remember which one it is, from the series of Andra Lewis, where he mentions that the reason why we do not remember our dreams, especially when we have good experiences, is because if we remembered that we went to visit, such a beautiful place, all of that, we met with our loved ones and all was wonderful, we would not feel like coming back, and life would be unbearable. We would be wishing to die each and every day. Because why can I not stay with my loved ones that are there? They do not have to go through, pandemics. They do not have to go to this worry of, providing for my survival. All of those things that would go against the law of preservation. And we are here for a reason. Another thing that we have to keep into consideration is the thinking being is not the physical brain. It is the spirit. And the more we go away, the more detached we are, the less our physical brain is involved. So when I come back and connect, let's say, completely to my physical body, the physical body did not live the experience that my spirit lived. So it has no recollection, and I cannot remember. But sometimes we do. So that's why, why sometimes we do. Some people have more this ability than others. I remember that one of our wonderful spiritists that we have, Raul Teixeira, he used to say, when you get up during the night and have this wonderful idea or vision or whatever, wake up, take note immediately, record it, do something, because you say, no, it's so clear in my mind, of course I'm going to remember that in the morning, and you don't. Because your brain was not that much involved, and you are in this between states that you can still do something and record somehow the advices, the experiences, but in the morning, if you will not remember. And then it comes to that situation that we say, oh my God, but I know it was something important. I just remember pieces and bits, and yeah, but it's still a mystery. One thing that we do know in terms of very disturbing dreams, because we have experiences, that is true, but we also have the worries. When we are too worried, with a lot of things on our mind, it's very difficult for us to detach from our physical bodies during the night. And this is when we wake up in the morning very tired. Sometimes we cannot sleep that well. We have very strange recollections that it's more a byproduct of our physical brain than actually experiences that we had with our perispirit, spirit outside of the body. So it's a very complex subject. There is, I think, a lot for us to learn, not only in terms of what science is going to bring to us, but even in terms of the spiritist science. There is a lot for us to understand and explore in this sense as well. Yes, Sonia.
Like you explained this picture, we can see the wire connect.
Yeah.
I think it's very important for people who doesn't know about this. I think it's part of this subject.
Yes, it's what we call the silver cord. Okay, so this silver cord here, and here is in blue, okay, dark blue, that we can see here on the head of this little guy here, and connecting to where his physical body is in the here on any place of the planet. Yes, thank you, Sonia. Okay, I think we have time for another one. Why this? Well, this is something that we were talking about before, organic matter, that where we have the vital principle. Remember that we were talking about the cosmic fluid, that is the energy, let's call it the breath of God. Everything is immersed and is a byproduct of this breath of God. When we have our physical body and all the connections that we have, the spirit, perispirit, physical body, this cosmic fluid, this energy that gives life and support the whole of the creation, gets an extra way of vitality that is related to even live organisms that are part of this, then they are beginning their process of evolvement. I didn't want to go that deep, okay, into explaining all that, but um, all the cells in our body, all the atoms that we have in our body represents a future being. We started as an atom. We have in question 540, I think, if I'm not mistaken, from the atom to the angel. So we started as a spiritual principle in an atom. So each one of us, our physical organism, represents a world in itself, with inferior beings, with beings that are starting their process of evolution. And it's really amazing to think that each atom of our life will be in the future a Marley, a Philip, a Soraya. Oh, I remember when I lived in the body of Jesus. No. At that point, we were already human beings, but in the body of somebody else, okay? No, we will not remember that, but we are, those beings, and the dimension of all that is so much more than we can actually grasp at this moment. But at the same time, even if you cannot explain completely, it's beautiful to know that life is in us, in each cell of our body. Yes, okay. You were going to say something, Marley?
Yes, in Tai Chi, the vital principle is called Qi.
Gee.
And as you do the 108 moves, this helps to build your Qi. So by doing, a set every day, you're really building on that vital principle.
Yeah. You see, like I was saying before, how our perspective and our behaviors should change completely when we start understanding things. Because, you can complain about, let's say that we are living in a monarchy, okay? About the behavior of the king or the queen before their kingdom. But our physical body is our kingdom. Life depends on what we are doing to it. So life that inhabit my GI tract, for instance, will be impacted by the kind of food that I'm going to be providing to it. It's going to compromise. If I live in places that I'm going to compromise my breathing, okay, we all have, this is a kingdom, we all have, the realm of the lungs, right? The realm of the stomach, the realm of the mind, the realm, so many inner realms. Actually, I should write a book about it. If I had time and imagination, instead of going outside, let's talk about the realm of the body, and you start thinking about how, at the end, it's a beautiful story of fraternity. You can have a beautiful lung, but if your kidneys or your heart is bad, or arteries, the lung will perish anyway, right? So we all have a commitment to each other, you see? So this understanding changes us completely. It will lead us to reevaluate our sleep, the time we dedicate to rest, to sleep, to eat in proper times, to eat the right amount, to choose, the best possibilities, even the clothes, right? Because sometimes women like to squeeze all of those things in a Spanx or something that it cannot be good for your body if you use that constantly, right? Uh, uh, the walking, all of this. So imagine uh, all of this beauty before of us, and all of this pulsating life, and God making us responsible for that. That's why they call, Jesus used to say, the precious vase, because
Sarah,
it's what we will be in the future, right? Yeah.
It reminds me of when Andre Luis got to know Solar, and they referred to him as, oh, the suicide. And he said, oh no, not me. I didn't. But he did because he overindulged. I don't want to call it gluttony, but I mean, he overdid. He overindulged.
Uh-huh. And you see, it's all of that happened because of our understanding. Everyone is doing that. This is the pattern of the world. This is the law of the world, and we go with this flow that not necessarily works in our best interest. That's why for change makers, and all of us have to be change makers when we get into this path, into this journey, we suffer because people say, why are you going through that path if everyone else is going through this one? What we assume is immediately that the one that is going through to right instead of going to left is the wrong one because it's the minority, but it can be the one that came to provoke changes, right? Even if sometimes it has to walk alone. Okay, we have time for one more comment and we will stop here.
Sarah,
Say which one. Okay.
Sarah,
Yes.
I want to know when a person goes under anesthesia in a hospital, does the anesthesia affect the perispirit or the physical body?
The anesthesia just works on the physical body, okay? It provokes let's say that it's momentarily, it severs the link between the physical body and the spirit. It's not, sever it would not, reduce the possibility. Like, sometimes, like we say here, I have the computer, I have the cord, but the electricity, for whatever reason, we are in a blackout, momentarily blackout, and I cannot feel the functions, connect the functions of our physical body. But it's just, it provokes a withdrawing, and with this, if withdrawing, then we don't feel, we go through all this process and without pain, etc.
And the same thing goes for when a person is in a coma?
A person in a coma, it was not through, one thing, we are talking about a provoked stage. Okay, sometimes you can put a person in a coma, and sometimes it's recommended to do that. But you are talking about a natural coma. So if we're talking about a natural coma, we are talking about, yes, something that was not provoked here, but it was provoked by the spirit, oneself, by situations, and the effect is going to be the same. There will be a lack of probability of communication, of utilizing the machine that is the physical body, which does not mean that the spirit is in a coma. And that's why, we have the intuition of, talk to the spirit, talk to the person. It is going to listen, it is going to see. And yeah, That's people that have come back from the states that we call NDE, near-death experience, or situations like that. Sometimes they will say, yeah, I saw people around me, I could hear you talking, and this is that. Okay, so that's it for today. We continue next week. Anything else? Okay, so let's ask Ale to do our final